Hello and welcome along to TGP Has A Podcast. This week we're talking to Phil Bargewell. He's been in TGP series now since 2015, and having originally raced in the series TOC, where a lot of TGP drivers came from, we talked about his time racing in different categories in the TGP series and how he's had success in most of them so far. More specifically in TGP Dirt as opposed to TGP 1, where he's only taken a handful of race wins, but could it lead to more? We chat to Phil about why it hasn't quite happened and how he hopes it could in the future. We hope you enjoy the show. So Phil, thank you very much. Oh, brilliant. Good. You just can't take him anywhere, can you? If you haven't guessed, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Phil Bargewell joining us this week. The petulant child of TGP, who just can't behave. You just can't take him anywhere, can you? Now, Phil Bargewell, thank you very much for coming on the show. Without doubt, the oldest man in TGP series.
Not quite.
But you have had quite some success as well, despite being a bit of an old timer. Which we'll go into in depth, of course. But obviously, Phil, welcome to the show, and thank you for coming on.
Pleasure, Mike. Thank you for inviting me on. But I don't know if anyone has said this yet, but congratulations to you. You know, you are now officially engaged. I think we can say that.
I am, yes. Who would have thought it? Little old me.
I know, God. Your life is ruined. Sorry.
I feel quite sorry for Laura, to be quite honest with you, Phil. I still think she's regretting the decision today, really. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Join us in the next podcast when she may have left me after hearing this. So, Phil, it's undoubtable that you've been a key part of TGP and the series ever since its sort of rise from sort of 2013 onwards. But prior to that, you did sort of have some connections with another league, and a lot of you sort of came over and joined us. We chatted with Softy about it before, of course, but with TOC, the early TOC days, racing with the likes of Softy, Jack, Andy was there as well, obviously Andy, Magic Poop Can Andy. How was that?
Yes. I mean, well, TOC was my first league that I joined, and that's where I met Andy, Jack. Well, I still haven't met Jack in person. So I met Andy, Jack, and Soft Cop and Magic Poop Can, or Moss, as he was called, because he had the PSN Moss Isley. That's where it comes from. We've only ever known him as Moss, or Moors, depends how you pronounce it. But yeah, TOC, first league I ever joined, 2010 game. It was good fun to start off with, and then 2011 game, and I was very competitive, even beating Softy. Can you imagine?
You didn't.
I did. I should have won the championship. I won 9 races in the season and still didn't win the bloody thing. Sorry, we're swearing already. We'll
have to put an explicit content warning on the beginning of this one.
I think we are. Yeah. But yeah, the 2011 game, I was mega at it. I mean, I even won a race that I shouldn't have won because Ginger Andy got a puncture in the last lap and bottled it at the last corner of Valencia, and I saw him parked up against the barrier as I was flying round.
Gutting.
Of a full race distance as well. Can you imagine?
100% race.
100% race. Andy led from light to almost flag, and then there he was parked facing the pit wall at the last corner of Valencia, and I came around and like a little girl, I screamed because I couldn't bloody believe it.
and TOC was more sort of based on those longer race distances, sort of 50 and 100% rather than the sort of 25% that we run in TGP. How was it sort of transitioning from that down to 25%?
It's completely different. 100% race, yeah, you can make a mistake, but it's almost like an endurance race. It's a 2-hour sprint, effectively, isn't it? So you do have time to get back if you're quick enough. In TGP 1 and TGP 2, 25% races, you make a mistake, you better hope for a safety car or something. It's a full-on sprint, and you've got to take your opportunities. But I like the two dynamics of it. I like them both. They're both good dynamic races between them. And the level of TGP 1 now is phenomenal. It's absolutely insane.
And obviously you've been able to sort of keep competing in TGP1, sort of relatively high standard through the sort of seasons. But do you think that sort of back in the TOC days on F1 2011, etc., was that where you were sort of driving at your best, do you think, or?
I don't know. I think I'm driving better now,
You reckon?
if I'm honest. I think so, yeah. I don't know if it was just because, like, the game suited me back then, but now I'm like, I feel like I'm driving better than ever because now I've taken like most of the assists off. Not the ABS. You're welcome, Softy. Yeah. So I've got most of the assists off now, and I feel like I'm driving better than ever. Just the competition's so much harder. But it's good fun now still. You know, it was good fun towards the end of last season. I was in the fight for wins, which I thought would never ever happen again. I was like, bloody hell. No wonder I got county in Abu Dhabi. I sped in the pit lane. I was so excited.
And obviously that the COC days went on for as long as it did, and it sounds like obviously the chaps there had good fun. But how is it that you came into TGP? Where did that start?
So when I joined TGP, I was about it a year late or a season late? I think Jack Pearson first joined. No, it wasn't. It was Ginger Andy who first joined from the TLC clan, because I think he joined a lobby and started commentating, so Dom brought him in.
That's right.
Then Jack joined, and then Softy was like and ahhing, and Jack was desperately saying to Dom, don't let Softy in because he'll ruin it, and he was right. But Softy then joined, and then I kind of joined literally not long after Softy. It wasn't that long, I don't feel like it was. I can't remember if Softy joined halfway through the season or I joined halfway through the season. It was that long ago. But yeah, we joined and we've never left. You know, we actually like knitted two groups of people together quite well, and it's been a good bonding of like the two groups from TLC and TGP. We've come together as like a new family. It's like a marriage.
Like a good marriage, hey Phil. That's the main thing.
Indeed, yes.
And of your memories of sort of first joining TGP, obviously there was the switch to the shorter racing, which we've been over. But what was your sort of first impressions? Was it something that you really felt you could get your teeth into, or?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Anything like competitive online racing it's pretty much the only reason I buy games now. It's like single player's good fun for a little bit, but it's like online's where it's at. And then TGP was like when I came back in, because TSC unfortunately was kind of like people were just moving on with their lives and stuff like that. You know, it happens, but TGP was like the new challenge, so it was definitely something I got to grips with, got my teeth stuck into, and like making new friends as well. So it all just, like I said, bonded naturally together, and it was it
tied in quite well.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So it was sort of it was F1 2015.
Yes.
If I remember rightly, where you first made your appearance in TGP1, and in the first season, which was season 24, obviously we had quite a bit of a delay on F1 2015 because we had quite a while for the game to be able to be raceable. But fourth in your first full season of racing, was that sort of where you expected to be in the competitive order? Were you anticipating to be perhaps a little bit higher, or?
I didn't have any expectations, because at the time it was like, I don't know who these people are, I don't know how they race, I don't know how quick I am compared to them, so I had no expectations. Just like, go out, do the best you can, see what happens. And there were some races I had a disaster in, like Australia. I just planted the wall in turn 2, I remember. Some races I should have won, and one race I did win because I went bold with a one-stop strategy in a 25% race, which was unheard of. But Mexico, the tyre wear was awful, and some people went two-stop, and I just went, sack it, I'm staying out, and I won that race. And
now we can't talk about.
Still can't believe it.
Yeah, I was going to say we can't talk about that season without talking about the race at Malaysia, which was, let's not forget, your first win in TGP1. What a race to win it in. You know, there was the famous quote from Andy: "They're 3 wide into turn 1. Paul with a double toe, and then Paul, Chris Thurgood, and Wingsman all came together in turn one, like Moses parting the seas, and through came Jack Pearson and Phil Bargewell. But although this was, I think, if I remember rightly, only a couple of laps to the end, you weren't actually in the lead at that point.
No, I was second. Well, I was fifth going into turn one, and I'd come out of turn two in second. And I was
How often can you say that happens?
Yeah, I was slightly closing up on Pearson anyway. The gap was kind of ebbing and flowing. I just started making a little bit of progress, like chipping away a couple of tenths. And then I think Pearson either had a panic moment thinking, oh God, I'm leading. And then going into turn four, he defended Finn Air. I was nowhere near attacking him. He went wide. I went round the outside, and Andy, I've got to say, he said we've had 5 fucking leaders in the first 5 fucking corners. It is brilliant, and I couldn't believe it myself. Like, I'm leading by turn 6 in 1 lap. And even better was because it helped my teammate at the time, Chris Johnson, as well. I think he got a podium on that day as well. So it was just like, what a day, for little old Marisha at the time.
Obviously racing in the Marisha team, teammates with Chris Johnson, I think it was.
It was Chris Johnson, yes.
So obviously fourth in that season, the first proper season, that I guess whetted your appetite enough to stick around.
Aye.
And the 2 race wins though in that season sort of came, but the whole of your sort of TGP career, TGP 1 at least, you've only sort of had 8 race wins so far at least. Why do you think you sort of you hit the ground running, it seems, in that first season? Why do you think it never really sort of was the start of something more?
I mean, the first obvious protocol is, well, I have a job, I have a life.
Do you? Are we so sure about that?
Believe it or not, I do have hobbies. I do enjoy my life, and I have to work for a living. So I can't commit to like being good at a game, and I'm not that good at it. Let's just be put that straight out. Some people are better than me, straight out the blocks. So yeah, I'm not going to be winning every race, challenging for the title every time. But I mean, how I would like to look at it as a positive is that I've maintained decent enough pace to be never considered for TGP2, always in TGP1, and always in the points, and even at some point at every season fighting for or winning a race. My race victories are sparse, but I do it's like I get them every now and again, and it's enough to kind of whet the appetite for more. So it's the pace is kind of there, but I need Lady Luck to shine a lot and Softy not to show up. Please.
Well, let's not forget, you have led a championship at one point. The next following season 25, F1 2016, you won the first race of the season, Phil.
I know. God, I can't remember. It's been that long, so I can't remember. I actually led a championship. Jesus.
Very temporarily, I must add. A race later, Softy did win, and then went on to win the title by over 100 points. But you led a championship, Phil.
Yeah, I mean that's at least nobody can take that away from me.
No.
I did lead the championship very briefly, but but that also shows like how competitive TGP1 is and can be, because it takes a little bit of luck to win a race, and sometimes a little bit of luck to win a championship as well. But to win a race, everything has to fall into place, and you have to be on your A game, especially in TGP1, because we've been a 25% race, as we discussed. If you're not on your A game, you're not going to win a chance to win the race. And if sometimes Lady Luck doesn't shine, you're definitely not going to win a race. So it's just so competitive. You've got to be on the ball all the time. It's true, like the person who makes the least mistakes wins the big prize. It's so true in TGP1. You can't make a mistake at all.
And that's obviously a key feature in these sort of shorter races, as you said there. But you've been a sort of relatively regular feature in TGP1 since then. Competing, as you said, sort of on and off. And you've had as we said 8 victories in total, 8 pole positions. Are you sort of happy with what you've achieved with the sort of input that you've put in to TGP1, with sort of what you've got out of it so far?
Oh, yeah, definitely, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think, it's still enjoyable and still competitive. It's a good laugh. You know, sorry for sounding a bit down, but we just watched an F2 race and Doohan unfortunately bottled a win.
Well,
Sorry,
and
people.
I'm a bit down because Vip should have run away with it, I'm absolutely distraught at heart. But I'm trying to put on my A game at the moment, but it's bloody
Oh
difficult.
God, yeah. Sorry, people.
Muppet of high techs. Honestly, just that front jack man needs to get a new job. Anyway, Phil,
Anyway.
on to something that you have succeeded at, though. TGP Dirt. You're a champion, man. You're a champion.
Yes.
You won the season 7, finally winning
Finally.
a TGP Dirt title. Dom would say you fluked it.
Of course he would.
But a championship in season 7. What does that mean to you? Is it sort of, was dirt rallying something you sort of could get your teeth into a little bit more?
I don't know the reason why. I'm like very competitive in dirt. Like I was one of the top guys. Again, other than Softcop, but when he left, it was like me, Roy, Luca, and another generally. And me and Roy had to do like the rest of the seasons when the rule was introduced to, like, we couldn't go on the game until the actual stage. So to be competitive at that still, without going on the game at all, to even like get your eye in, it was like kind of surprising, but it was like so satisfying as well. You'll know what I mean when I say that, because like when somebody just clicks, it's just like, oh my God. And then when you get the satisfaction, you get the confidence, and it just all builds up. So and that season, winning the title, that was definitely the best I drove on the game at the time. And I didn't fluke the championship. Fuck you, Dom.
And you mentioned those sort of rivalries. There were quick drivers. You had Dom, Softy, Roy, Luca at times as well, of course. How did you sort of feel coming up against them in rally? I mean, I'd say that all of you have very different styles and approaching a rally. So how is it that you sort of went about competing with them in the end to give yourself the advantage of winning the title?
I don't think you could plan it. I mean, that was the thing. It was like, you kind of had a feel for like if you were good or confident on certain like Sweden is at the snow. I'm pathetic at that. And I think the first time
despite
we went there,
being from the north where it's always cold,
it's not that cold, It is shirt off weather today. That's at least 14 degrees.
Well, Phil, anything above 10 degrees in the north is shirt off weather. Let's be honest.
I might get a tan today. But yeah, like Rally Sweden on the snow, it just wouldn't click for me. But like Germany, I knew I'm good there. I think a lot of people like Rally Germany. I think even you like Rally Germany. So you just attacked it more. But like you couldn't really prepare for it. You knew your limits, but I suppose like you couldn't fully drive in the limits, because if you wanted to win the championship, you had to kind of go on the limit and maybe beyond to egg out that little second here and there just to try and win a stage. Because like, yeah, we won the championship. Like me, Roy, weren't winners of every stage at every time. We were just consistent, and that was probably the best way to approach it.
And in terms of your sort of rally wins, the 5 that you had, or and those times where things didn't go quite well, what did you find as being your sort of the hardest moment where you sort of really had to dig deep and try and find something? Because it is a game where it's all on you. At the end of the day, there's no safety cars to help you out. If you go wide and hit a rock or hit a tree, that's on you, Sunshine. So what did you find as the hardest moment?
Oh, I mean, the hardest moment is when you hear I think our tire's going, and like, oh, for God's sake. And it's like, right, do I change the tire? Did I carry a spare? Yes. Do I change it? It's okay, because it's going to take a minute. They're the decision. They're the hard decisions. And then there was one. Was it when we restarted the Dirt Rally League? I got towards the end of a stage with a puncture, and I spun, and I got stuck. I couldn't turn, and the finish line was there. I spent about 30 seconds trying to get across the line. It was so embarrassing. But you just got to go, well, I've got to give it hell now and just go for it because, like, I've lost any hope of good points. I'll see if I can salvage any points.
Something from the event, isn't it?
Yeah, so just, fix the car as best you can and just go for it. Sometimes, though, if your car's that messed up, like, you don't have full engine capacity, it means you can go commit more to corners that you couldn't do. So you end up going quicker than you would have done, which is a bit weird.
And how much did it hurt you, the Dom taking a TGP Dirt title? Because you two did have quite an intense rivalry at times during TGP Dirt. How much did that weigh on you? Let's be real.
Being real. I mean, Dom pissed me off every time he said, I'm just going for top 10. I'm just going for top 10. I was like, fucking shut up. He was winning stages. He was, he could see what me and Roy were doing. He didn't have to go at the same time as us. So, and he could do setups as well. So, he had the advantage, so he fluked the title more. But no, honestly, I'm glad he won because, like, he did really well last season. You can't deny that. But he's a fluky bastard, though.
And so obviously that was a huge win for you. So moving away from a series where you did quite well to a series where you struggled with more so, TGP Cars, because let's not forget, you've pretty much taken part in every single TGP category that we've had. But TGP Cars, why did you always jump the start? Why are you not able to understand the basic principles of a green light?
Let me guess. Interesting question, Dom Smith. Look, like, that's what, where, like, an Olympic athlete jumps the start. Every second counts. And on Project Cars, you could almost time it where, like, you could go before the lights actually went out and get away with it. So that's what I was trying to do every time. So it was just me pushing the luck every time. As silly as it was as comical as it was for you lot as well every time I got a penalty.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Speaking of Project Cars, though, how did you get Paul at Brands, Mike?
We'll come on to that in my episode next series. Wait, there's a series 4? What?
Oh, we will get out of you.
But you did have some success. You did have some success in TGP Cars. 11 race wins, the 5th most overall. You and I were always around similar on that.
Yes. Yeah.
And 7 pole positions. So, it clearly was a category and a discipline that you did have success in. So why no more?
I mean, well, Project Cars was a good game, and, like, when we did the rules where, like, you couldn't set up, like, you couldn't do setups on the car or anything like that. It kind of leveled the playing field a bit, and you just had to find a car that you suited your driving style a bit. And, like, one of our last seasons we did on Project Cars was so much good fun because, like, one of about 7 of us could actually win it on our day. It was really good fun, entertaining racing, and again, like in TGP1, because we got to a good group of people who were all competitive. Yeah, you still had to be on your A game. So, TGP as a whole, in TGP1, TGP Car, TGP Dirt, we have a very good and high standard of, like, competitiveness between all the individuals who participate in it. So, that's what kind of lights the fire in my belly. The competition's high, and I'm in the group, so you get the best entertainment out of it, even if it doesn't go your way sometimes, and you get annoyed. But that's life, Ask Lewis Hamilton.
Very true. Very true. So you obviously, what was the cars that you enjoyed driving in most? Obviously, you talked about the banner, the setup there, which I think leveled the playing field a bit more. But to beginning with TGP Cars, obviously it was a different car each week, and then as things got later on, it was single category. Did you prefer that more, the single category, or were you more for the random cars?
if I'm going to be like selfish, I preferred the single category because you knew, and like I knew what I was expecting from the car I was picking and what I was getting. That's not to say I didn't enjoy the different cars at different ones, because like we had the Formula Golfs, which I loved.
Mm.
Oh, one sec, Mike. If you're going to keep the sorry in, now we're back. Sorry, had to deal with toy issues.
Well done. Well done.
Yes, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so the different cars at every round. I loved the Formula Golfs. I loved the touring cars, because who doesn't love touring cars?
Oh, it's very true. It's very true.
You know, and the GT3 cars were just like, you know, obviously we did seasons in the GT3 cars, but they're like the best cars for me. But then like we did some Formula Renault 3.5. I don't know if we did that actually in the season. The LMP cars, I was a bit naffing for some reason. Couldn't drive it quick. So, you know, I still enjoyed the different cars at different circuits. But yeah, being selfish, I've got to prefer the single make series, definitely.
Okay, that's interesting. And which car, if you could have done a car in a different for a full season, would you have suggested? Because I think we did touring cars, GT3s. What would you have gone with if it was your choice?
What, could I pick them or another one?
Oh yes, yeah.
So I enjoyed both of them. Obviously, the only other one I maybe would have liked to have done is Formula Golf or Formula Renault 3.5. I mean, Formula Golf would have been really interesting because that was quite good. Oh, did we not do Formula C? Wasn't it? That was another one I enjoyed. That was in the split series. Yeah, one of the like a Formula one, other than like the touring cars and the GT3 car. So either Formula C or Formula Golf, definitely.
Okay, that's interesting. And would you have had more wins or a title in one of those cars?
Maybe more wins in the Formula Golf one because I was in the group of competitive people. GT3 maybe as well. Touring cars, no, because I think we established in the touring car one, Owen ruled when we got to the touring car one. Yeah, but yeah, if it was Formula Golf or like another GT3, definitely more wins. Maybe not a title. Can't really say for a title. Depends on who and what turns up. But yeah, definitely more wins.
And obviously, of the 11 wins, you had some rather entertaining ones, shall we say? What would you say was one of the more sort of entertaining moments that you had on the way to a race victory?
I mean, God, I can't really remember, like specifically remember a moment, you know, on the way to like a victory of sorts. You know, winning's all good, but my bet, like the memory that sticks the most in me was our race at Long Beach.
Yes,
Long Beach.
Yes, it was. Yes,
the night race in the wet was carnage.
Oh, it was excellent.
And brilliant at the same time, because who picked Luca to win that race? You know, no disrespect, Luca, but like he wasn't, you know, at the sharp end. Let's say he could have possibly got, you know, good points, but like I remember in that race, I was holding up Johners and Softy whilst coming through the field though, and then they got me because there was bloody puddles at certain points, and like towards the end I kept catching the puddle at turn one every time, so they got me all the time. But that race was so much fun. Despite me finishing fourth, it's probably one of the best races I've seen us do in TGP cars. I actually love that race.
It's a great race. And obviously, as we mentioned, you've taken part in pretty much every discipline category that TGP has run over. It's coming up to 11-year history now. What would you say has been your most favourite and why?
Oh God, favourite memory.
Well, favourite category first. Favourite category first.
Category. Favorite category. I mean, Formula One, TGP One. It's still like the A category. So definitely TGP One.
Why is that? Why is that?
It's like can't really put a specific like pin on it, but it's just it's where like the cream of the crop all come, and we have very talented people in TGP One, and to be competitive with them, fighting for points, podiums, the odd victory. That's what excites me the most out of all our disciplines. Don't get me wrong, like I've loved dirt, I've loved project cars, I love doing GT Sport, even though I couldn't exactly do the last one. But TGP One is just, for me anyway, it's just like the pinnacle, the cream of what the TGP series is. So that one for me.
And I guess that over the time you've taken part in a lot of races, you've taken part in, as we said, a lot of categories. What would you say has been your favourite memory then?
In terms of TGP, we have so many, and not necessarily in racing ones. We've got pro clubs, which is an absolute nightmare. If we ever live stream a pro clubs, you better have the bleeper button at hand. It gets violent.
Oh, it does. It does.
TGP One with my first year. Who can forget that moment with Paul picking up the double toe? It's just iconic now.
Yes.
Disc Jam, Rocket League, even bloody Bat Racer, for God's sake.
Hey, Bat Racer, underrated TGP.
It is underrated.
Category. Did you ever win Bat Racer?
I think me and Andy did. Yes, I think I did. One of our earlier ones. Yes. We did. I think me and Andy dominated one season as a team. I've just got so much TGP in its 11-year or almost 11-year history and continuing. And one of if not the longest running racing league out there. TGP must be doing something right, hey?
Exactly. Now, Phil, I'd like to sort of finish up where I usually do with some sort of relatively quick fire questions.
That's what she said.
How would that even be what she would say to me? Anyway, say to anyone. I don't know what you've had ladies asking you, Phil, but that is quick fire anyway.
I'm LDR Storm. It's a little blue pill. Sorry.
Phil, what would you say is the favourite track you've ever raced on? This can be from any game, any series. What's your favourite track to race on?
Phillip Island, MotoGP games.
Phillip Island? Behave.
It's so good.
It's dull, honestly. Mate.
It's
dull.
On a motorbike, it is the best thing ever when you hook a lap around there. It is so good. And Magellan's a close second. They're so good.
Unbelievable.
I'd even throw Portimao in there now.
We are okay. I'll allow Portimao. I was about to say we are having our nice car-related podcast be infected with bikes.
No. Like, have we done Magellan on a car game?
It wasn't in F1 game, was it?
No. Was it
in cars?
Game? That's what I'm thinking. Was it in cars?
I don't think it was. Imola was.
Imola was. Not a fan of Imola though.
No, I don't think many people are.
It's a shame. It really should be.
It's a shame. It is a shame. What's your least favourite track to race on, and why?
Nürburgring. Just don't even start me on that shit. Any form of that piece of shit track, with the Nordschleife, the Nürburgring Loop, the fucking little car park, the roller coaster, just bomb it. Putin, bomb it.
But you've had so much success there. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't understand why. You're all shit there. It's the shittest circuit on planet Earth. Oh my god.
But you've won so many races there, including on TGP cars. Let's not forget.
I know, but it doesn't mean I've enjoyed any of them. They're the worst. It's the worst circuit. Nothing works on it. It's all shit. Even the marshalling is crap. Just get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Unbelievable. I think
Moving on.
Is an abomination. This is an abomination. What was your favourite race that you've taken part in on TGP?
Favourite race? I mean, that Long Beach one we were talking about.
Yeah.
Goes up there. Like some of the last few in last season's TGP one. There was the one at Catalunya where I was chasing Hickey down. Suzuka where I was chasing Hickey down. I think back in 2017 at Silverstone, where I was as quick as I think it was Softy and Matt Tibos at the time. I can't remember. And then
Yeah.
I stayed out an extra lap and got the virtual safety car to win it. That's a good memory for me. Because Softy was so gutted.
What was your least favourite race that you've taken part in?
Any race at Nürburgring.
No, Phil. Shut up about being the N and talk about a proper race that you dislike.
A proper race that I disliked. Oh God, I mean, there was a couple at Baku that I've struggled at. I know, Australia last season, TGP one, just couldn't get the thing to work at all. It was pathetic. Yeah.
Aren't you in most races anyway?
How did you Vips do it today?
Oh, stop it, you. Stop it, you. Hey, one question I do want to ask you, which you may or may not remember, our last lap and a half race, Mexico, F1 2017, TGP1, lap and a half of pure side-by-side racing.
Yes.
And how did it end, Phil? How did it end? With you in the wall. Let's not forget. Your rage of our amazing battle, a beautifully weighted, I think the words used were dive bomb, I'd say optimism, from me into turn one. But, I mean, I think we've had some great races over the time, haven't we?
We have, but you do have a Roy Nassani approach about you sometimes.
Hey, I think Roy Nassani is mistaken driver.
If anyone ever races Mike Noon, look behind you. If he's within 50 metres of you, he'll be diving down the inside of you, or the outside of you, or through you. It doesn't matter. It's Mike Noon.
So this brings me nicely on to my next question, Phil. Who have you enjoyed racing against the most at TGP?
Well, I've enjoyed racing against Dynaman, Jack Hickey, because they've been like about where I've been, like my pace. Aiden's been good to race with.
Yeah.
And Alistair, when I'm not making a mistake and taking him out. I've had good battles with Softy in the past. You know, our TOC days, we were very good. We did the whole, was it 3/4 of a lap side by side around Korea. I don't know how we managed it.
Oh wow!
But we did. So yeah, there's been some good people to race with.
And who have you least enjoyed racing against?
Speed Knighton, because he can't race.
Right.
He just,
yes.
CJ Leclerc, after Canada, he just turned on me. He said, "That was my racing line." Yeah, all right, son. Sunshine. Some guy called Mike Noon. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
No, I haven't actually. No. He's still in TGP.
You can have your good moments, Mike. We have had some good battles as well.
Stop it, you.
But yeah, B Knight, CJH look after Canada. I think there's a Speed Iceman as well. I've had a run in with, and then this guy from ILR called Chris Johnson who turned in twice on me and then said it was my fault. I was like, I'm on the outside. How can I turn in on you? Right.
Fair enough. As you do.
Yeah. He sent one down the inside at store. He damaged my front wing and then said it was my fault. I was like, I gave you the space.
It probably was. Let's be honest. You're a pretty reckless driver, Phil. I don't think it's really a surprise.
Clearly.
Yeah. And lastly, I'm 99% sure I know the answer to this already, which pains me. But if you could create a league in TGP on any game, what game would that be?
I think I would love a MotoGP one, but it's
TGP Moto, hey?
And I don't think it would be feasible. And Ride 4 is a good game as well. If people were interested in that would be a good one as well.
But did you say Drive 4?
Ride 4, sorry.
Okay. That's motorbikes as well, isn't it?
It is, but it's like Gran Turismo. It's like Gran Turismo for motorbikes, though. So.
Okay. TGP Ride upcoming.
Yeah. Let's have a call.
But hang on. Isn't Softy really good at motorbike games as well? We don't want him winning more titles.
That's the other thing. He's ridiculous at that as well. Let's have a Call of Duty. In fact, I know. I've got a better idea. Why don't we have a real life karting league?
Hey, great idea.
Dom, Mike. Well, maybe not you, Mike. You're a bit crap at organising. Dom, get it sorted.
Behave. I organised you for today, even though you're bloody piping off this afternoon.
I'm a busy man. I've got to go do Shrek.
That's very true. And to be fair, you do make a very good Shrek.
I'm not even Donkey. I'm not even the ass. I'm just some peasant and a bishop.
Are you like second lobster or something?
I think I'm tap dancing rat number 37.
Interesting. As high as 37? I thought you'd be lower than that.
I'm not that good, mate. Sorry.
No, that's very true. Very true. Work on your tapping shoes. Phil, as ever, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I'm sure
so
you've
glad.
not hated it as much.
No, I think it's been really relatively entertaining. And I know, obviously, Phil Bargewell, the man, the myth, the legend, the multitasker who can fix a toy in the middle of... No, you didn't fix the toy. No,
I didn't
fix the toy.
I couldn't fix it.
Toy.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, during this podcast, Phil Bargewell has shattered a child's dreams. But he's made our dreams come true because he's appeared on the podcast. Oh, what a way to end that is. Phil, thank you ever so much for coming on. Hopefully we'll be able to do another one of these at some point in the future because it's rather entertaining.
Thank you.
And good luck in your next endeavours in TGP. Who knows? Maybe you'll fluke another title somewhere.
Thank you, Mike. Good luck to you as well. All the best.
Thank you, Phil. So there you have it. A good chat with Phil there about his time in the TGP series, having raced in multiple different categories as we discussed, and how his time in the series doesn't seem to be coming to an end soon for the old timer. Next week we'll be chatting to another TGP icon, and we hope to see you next week for another great episode of TGP Has a Podcast.